This year's Best Plays video was the biggest project I've ever worked on, not just in terms of the scope of the project, but also the time it took just to put the pieces together and publish it. Today I will be showcasing the workflow and the time required to get this sort of content out and showcase which tools I used to make the video. You can have a best of video without the best plays of the year. So for the third year in a row, I asked people in my Discord group to participate in the list, and I've also asked several other people for their opinions as well. From mid-November to December 31st, there were a couple of hundred messages, discussing scores and adding scores in until the very end of 2020. Although the core team members from previous years stayed, I also added a bunch of new people and discussed with many more, and the list had a total of 15 to 25 people looking at it and providing feedback. Of course, we didn't remember all of the scores, and recency bias affected all of us immensely, so that is something to look for next year if we decide to do another one of these again. However, at the end of the day, we were all proud of the list and thought it was ready to go. After the list was done, I had to deal with recording all 119 replays, which if not for OSR 24, would have taken somewhere between 5 to 10 hours, due to the fact that I had to record everything manually via OBS and store it somewhere. If you don't know what OSR 24 is, it's basically a program that records plays without having to open them in the client, and exports them as a video of any format of your choosing, using FFmpeg as the multimedia framework of choice. I won't go into it anymore, but FFmpeg has saved me upwards of 100 to 150 gigs of storage with its encoding. Next thing I had to deal with were the player cards, or as I refer to them as, overlays. In 2019 I asked Now, one of my friends, to come up with a good idea for player cards, and they provided an amazing design that was used in 2019. In 2020, Ro, more known as SMH or Luca, revamped the design to include more information about the players and the plays. Since I was moving to using OSR to MP4 as my play recording software, hoping it would save me hours of work just sitting and recording plays with OBS from the client. I think that on that frontier we delivered well, although I can see some improvements such as adding whether it was an FC or not, due to the fact that we did not count slider breaks as misses, and we had no way to count the amount of slider breaks either. The entire ordeal with the player cards took about 4 to 6 hours that were invested over 2 days, with Ro creating a few of them when they had time, since they were pretty busy. After that, I had to take a 3-day break since I felt mentally broken after grinding those player cards. 3 days passed, however I still felt immense pressure to finish the project since I set a goal for myself that I want it done before the first week of 2021 ends. The last thing that I considered difficult and something that would end up costing me most of my time was actually putting the video together in Sony Vegas 15, and in the end it would cost me my health and well-being as well. You see, I started drinking up to 2 cups of coffee every day in order to keep up with my insane goal, and for someone who only started drinking coffee a few weeks prior, it caused a lot of liver pain and created acids that would constantly cause me pain, as well as having issues sleeping at night since I was so worried about my deadline as well as under constant stress. After realizing that it was from coffee, I had to ditch it entirely and would go on a 10-hour editing job, with the only breaks being going to the toilet and eating, and I would end up editing the entire 2.5-hour video in one day. The day after that session, I just made sure there were no errors or issues, added some final touches, and let the video render. The render took over 5 hours, and uploading it to YouTube took about 2 hours. After all of that, creating a thumbnail and other miscellaneous things felt like a breeze, and I was finally ready to publish the video. I think the video was received pretty well this year, and all of us who helped create it are proud of what we've accomplished. As for 2021, I am unsure if I want to take up the challenge of creating something like this again, since this is clearly something that we as a community need, but it has cost me a lot of my time for no real gain, if I may say that. The video was not monetized due to me knowing it would receive a couple dozen copyright claims, and I just wanted for the video to not be blocked worldwide, which meant that I would not be earning any ad revenue from the video, but oh well, that's not what matters the most to me. Well, that was this year's process of making a video about the best plays of the year. I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and I hope to see you next time.